weekend refresh. That was just a look at the July game release schedule. In case you don't get it, there's not many new interesting games coming out this month. In fact, there are no entirely new interesting games coming out this month. We get a PS4 remastered version of The Last of Us, and a new retooled version of Guacamelee, and a few other smaller games, but nothing really noteworthy to play in the month of July, so don't be on the lookout for our regular release calendar, because there's really not enough to put on it this month to even justify doing one. But hey, what is worth playing? I would say Sniper Elite 3. I've personally been having some fun with that game. They've upgraded the X-rays quite a bit, so it's quite satisfying getting some long shot kills. But there's about 7,050 people who are enjoying their Sniper Elite 3, and also only had the game revoked by the developer Rebellion Games. And this all leads back to very weird Steam key theft. So somehow over 7,000 keys for Sniper Elite 3 were stolen and then resold to actual retailers like Green Man Gaming and reputable guys that weren't aware that these were stolen keys, and of course when Rebellion realized the keys were stolen, they deactivated them. If you're one of the people affected by this, you can go to the Steam forum and provide proof of purchase to Rebellion, and they'll give you a brand new key for the game, and for your troubles they'll even give you the latest Kill Hitler DLC. So you know, you might not be able to play Sniper Elite 3 for a little while, but hey, you get some free DLC, and still no word exactly how those keys were stolen, so hopefully we don't see something else like this happen again in the future, but I have a feeling we probably will. So hopefully those of you that get some Steam keys early for Borderlands the pre-sequel won't have to worry about them being stolen by some weird underground Russian organization. But we have a op-ed up this week, why you should be worried about Handsome Jack and what he's done to the Borderlands franchise. He was the main villain of Borderlands 2, love him or hate him. Personally, our writer doesn't seem to like him very much. And guess what? He's going to be back in Borderlands the pre-sequel. So, of course, you get to kill Handsome Jack in Borderlands 2, but pre-sequel's a prequel, so more Handsome Jack. And I'm sure they'll figure out some way to sneak him into Tales from the Borderlands from Telltale Games as well. Personally, I have problems with Claptrap, and having a playable Claptrap class in the new Borderlands game is probably going to annoy the hell out of me, but it doesn't take away the fact that it's still a pretty fun franchise, and we all know we're going to be playing that new game no matter what. And speaking of games that are suffering from a numerous amount of bad sequels and prequels, let's talk about Dead Island. The first game wasn't really all that great, but it did some unique things, and the combat was very satisfying, even though you had a cheesy voodoo rapper that, who do you voodoo, bitch? So, take what you want away from the original Dead Island. I played through the entire game, and if I gotta admit, it was pretty fun, even though some parts were completely broken. Thankfully, I did play Sammy B, because he was one of the few characters that you could actually make it through the game at certain parts where it was kind of broken. Then Deep Silver followed up Dead Island with a terrible Dead Island Riptide sequel that I've only played a couple minutes of, and then I just said, no, screw this, not going to play that. And then a Dead Island MOBA, Dead Island Epidemic, because everybody was asking for that for some reason. And then Deep Silver surprised people at E3 this year with a Dead Island 2 sequel announcement, even though it was a CG trailer. But there was some hope that they actually have a decent developer on the series this time, Jaeger, who are the developers of Spec Ops The Line. So, what do? this week they announced a terrible third-person prequel with graphics that I could have sworn it was a cell phone game when I first looked at it. I'm not sure where this studio's from. I think they're like Polish or Russian or some small Eastern European studio. The graphics don't look very good. Supposedly it's going to tell the origin story of the virus. Oh yeah, by the way, the title of the game is Escape Dead Island, because apparently we'll never be able to escape the Dead Island franchise. Deep Silver is going to milk this thing forever. Personally, just skip this game. Wait for Dead Island 2. It'll probably be a pretty good game. But yeah, zombie games. What are you gonna do? And when Dead Island Riptide was coming out, I happen to remember a certain pre-order bonus. A bikini zombie torso that came with the game, probably better than the game itself, but it rubbed quite a few female gamers the wrong way, even though the original Dead Island had bikini-clad zombie women that you crack their heads open with cricket bats and stuff, but apparently they skipped the first game. And you know, I don't want to attack this specific vocal group of gamers, but a lot of times they complain about certain gender inequality of video games without knowing all the facts. So there's a story up this week that leads back to E3, where female gamers were upset that Assassin's Creed Unity didn't have a female avatar in the multiplayer mode. Now, this is explained by Ubisoft that all 4 of those characters you saw in the demo were actually all different versions of Arno, the main character, just in different sets of armor, because like every Assassin's Creed game, you can buy different sets of armor that look different. So the game doesn't have customizable avatar characters, thus no need to put a female character in. Yeah, but there's still outcry that Ubisoft is somehow sexist and doesn't put female characters in their games, even though they really broke down that barrier over a decade ago with Beyond Good and Evil, and have had more than one Assassin's Creed game with a lead female assassin, and not to mention that we know there's a second Assassin's Creed game coming out for last-gen consoles, currently codenamed Project Comet, which could very well have a female protagonist as well, but nonetheless, Ubisoft has had to apologize to this group of gamers because they're quite vocal, and people that weren't going to buy the game in the first place are going to protest and say that they're not going to buy the game because of some sort of lack of female representation, but I don't want to get into an argument about this, so let's go on to the next subject. And if there's one game developer you know you're not going to be seeing apologizing to his fans, that's Cliff Bleszinski, a long-time Epic Games employee, designer of the very popular Gears of War franchise, as well as some other classic series like Unreal Tournament. He took a break from gaming for about 2 years after leaving Epic Games, around the time Gears of War 3 was completed. And Cliff Bleszinski is back, according to his Twitter this week. Actually, he's about to announce a new game, I believe either tomorrow or Monday. He's been working on something for a while and just hasn't officially announced it, but it's official. He's making video games again. He's officially part of the games industry once again. And a little update to the story since I wrote it. Some clever NeoGAF members have already figured out the name of his new company. It's Boss Key Productions, and they have a neat little logo that looks like the Boss Key from Ocarina of Time. So that could be a little hint about what games Cliff Bleszinski's new company is looking to design. Probably more 90s area focused. Might not even be a shooter. Could be a Zelda inspired game. He's often said Legend of Zelda 2 is one of his all-time favorite games, and design inspiration in many of his titles. So be on the lookout next week for whatever Bleszinski, not Cliffy B, has been working on these last couple years. And because we're all for gender equality at Gamers Unite, let's talk about a well-known female game designer like Kim Swift. You might know her as the designer of the very excellent Portal series, and since Portal, she left Valve to go work over at Airtight Games, releasing Quantum Conundrum and Soul Fjord, which was for the Ouya. So I'm sure all those female gamers flocked to Kim's new games, but no, not really, because Airtight Games is closing. Not enough people bought those games, unfortunately. Their latest title was Murdered Soul Suspect, which I suspect not many people bought. That was one of those games where I was sort of on the fence about as well. I was just sort of waiting for a Steam sale or something to pick it up because it doesn't look all that interesting. Airtight sort of rubbed me the wrong way quite a few years ago when they developed Dark Void for Capcom, which initially, you know, it was like Rocketeer the video game. You had a jetpack and vertical combat and all these cool ideas, and then the game just turned out to be trash. But still, people lost their jobs, and that's never a good thing. Maybe Cliffy's new company might be hiring. Who knows? Kim Swift, by the way, left Airtight quite a while ago. She's currently working at Amazon Games' new game development studio. Probably making some games for the Amazon Fire TV, and probably an actual Amazon game console that is yet to be announced. And more sad news about developers losing jobs. Crytek UK is not doing very hot. An update from the previous story. Now there's some Crytek UK employees that aren't even showing up to work. They've filed official grievances with the company for not receiving pay or not getting paid in full for back pay that they were owed. Not a good sign for the studio, and not a good sign for Homefront Revolution. This could put the game in jeopardy of release. It's supposed to come out this year, so yeah, sort of got to pay your employees if you expect them to show up to work and actually make something. More on the story as it develops, but it's not looking good for Crytek. But enough about these sad studio closing stories. Let's get back to some angry gender inequality. So there's a Finnish Hearthstone tournament that banned female gamers, those sexist bastards. Not really. What they were trying was an eSports league that was an experiment in trying segregated play. So while the main games like Ultra Street Fighter 4 and Hearthstone were limited to male-only participants, they were trying a league for specific games like Tekken Tag Tournament 2 and several other titles as a female-only tournament. Similar to how most other team sports work, like football, soccer, basketball, real sports. I think a man boxing a woman would probably be kind of a lopsided fight. But then again, this is video games, and you're only using your wits and your fingers in this aspect. But so that vocal group that I mentioned got really vocal about this, and so they backed down. The tournament is now back to the same old kind of where you'll see 95% male gamers and 5% very uncomfortable female gamers that land up getting eliminated early in a kind of hostile male-dominated environment. So much for that experiment. Yay, gender equality. And you know what game is all about gender equality? I'd say it's Turtle Rock Studios' Evolve. You've got some pretty hot female hunters in that game, so it's not just the boys that you can choose from. Similar to the Left 4 Dead series that the same studio originally created. And I wouldn't even be surprised if there's a female monster where you gotta like electrocute it in the boobs or something. So we'll find out soon enough, because the Evolve Alpha is starting. It might actually even start today or tomorrow. July the 4th was when registration started, and they're supposed to be deciding today already who is going to participate in the alpha. So there still might be a chance if you hurry on over to the website and follow the link with the password and referral code to at least try to get into the alpha. It is PC only, so you will need a PC capable of running the game and a copy of Steam and a Steam account, obviously. Go check out Evolve. I've actually been playing quite a few alphas lately. Battlefield Hardline, Rise of the Incarnates. I'm signed up for Battle Cry whenever that starts next year. And I actually have some captured footage from these games, but unfortunately there's a press embargo on these games right now, so hopefully whenever I can start sharing some of these impressions and videos, I will. And the other big alpha that was going on during E3 was Destiny, the exclusive PlayStation 4 alpha. So there's quite a few impressions of that game out there, mostly very positive, but also more it's like, hey, this game's really an MMO, don't expect it to be like Halo. And if you weren't one of the lucky PS4 owners to try out Destiny, there will be a beta coming up on all platforms very soon, and we have a preview of the game up on the website right now. Even though it doesn't actually contain any impressions from playing the game, it still gives you a little bit idea of what to look forward to if you plan on participating in the upcoming beta. And for all the latest gaming news, previews, and gender equal LAN parties in your local area, visit gamersunite.com, and I will be seeing you guys next time.